Hey there, B here. We decided to try our hands at making video battle reports so you can follow our hero party's journeys in a much more intimate way. This is something that is completely new to us and certainly bringing us out of our comfort zone, so I thought, to ease into it, I thought it would be nice to give you guys an introduction video of my hero party. Well, first, how do we get here? So we've made countless hero parties and done a lot of campaigns with them and stuff, so we did not feel it prudent to start at the beginner level. That's really for someone who is just learning the ropes of the game. So we decided to go with the intermediate. We're doing party mode as opposed to hero mode because it is just the two of us. So for my party, we have 50 BP to spend on the characters, 100 Gilder. Can make 2 rolls on Fascination Street, which I rolled scroll and wand, healing scroll and 5 BP wands. We also get 1d10 guild reputation with each guild, and 1d10 supplies for each party member. Excluding hirelings, I did not take any hirelings. Let's first get to know the party before we get to know the individuals. This is Karoakei. She is my hero. And these are the Croakettes. This is King Gira. This is Da Vinci. And this is Paolo. I rolled 4 reputation for Arcanum, 6 for Pursuance, 1 for Ministry of Founding, and 8 for Artisan Circle. And after everything was said and done, I still had 28 Gilder left over that I did not spend. So in the book, we suggest that you roll for your flaw. It's obviously not required, and you're certainly not required to take a flaw, but it does help sometimes if you're kind of stuck and you don't know what to do with your hero. I tend to roll for my flaw before I even think about what direction I'm going to take with the character itself. So I rolled for my flaw and I got cursed. Whether you were in the wrong place at the wrong time or you rubbed someone the wrong way, you must live with the consequences. As a post-mission action, you must spend 5 supplies to keep the curse at bay. If you don't, all 10s you roll during your next mission count as ones. That's a pretty serious flaw, I would think. So I did take some traits, and actually I forgot to take a virtue. My hero is worth 25 points in traits. So for every 25 points in traits your hero is worth, not only do you gain an additional action die, but you also get what we call heroic virtues. And I know exactly the virtue I'm going to take. Because she is cursed and she relies on supplies, I'm going to go with heroic resourcefulness. You have the ability to make something out of nothing and make what you have last twice as long with thriftiness and ingenuity. Your supplies are worth 2 each. So I feel like that'll help me with my curse. So this is Karoakei's sheet, and I'm just going to write in here the heroic resourcefulness. So Karoakei herself is the frog. I put as small. And that gives her a +1 to her stealth and a -1 to get hit with melee and ranged attacks. She has arcane robes, which gives her a free upkeep die, as well as a magic resistance roll. And she has an arcane staff, which gives her an extra casting die. And I did mention that I rolled scrolls and wands in Fascination Street. I decided to go with 4 lesser heal scrolls, and I didn't purchase any wands. So she has Inspire. All allies within 5 inches have +1 to hit with melee and ranged. Charm. Any character that starts their activation within their natural reach of her has -1 action die to use against her. She has Shield, which is an upkeep spell. For every success, it takes that many hits before she can be targeted with an attack. However, if there are extra hits, once the shield is depleted, excuse me, then they will spill over onto her. We talked about the heroic resourcefulness, and she has Arcane Lore 1, which is +1 to her casting rolls. Now, I also took Scavenger. When she looks for supplies, she can roll 2d10 and choose the better result. And as a profession, I gave her Laborer, which means she can craft supplies with Gilder. As for spells, I have Rebuke. Within 5 inches, all enemies must make a courage roll per success. For each failure, they must flee 3 inches directly away from her. And we have another upkeep spell, Eye for an Eye. An enemy within 15 inches must defend against 1 automatic hit for each 10 they roll. We also have Riding and Charisma. Riding so that she can ride her mount, this lovely mushroom here. And Charisma because she is a singer and she's very personable. So I gave her that as a representation of her day job, essentially. Now, as a hero, she automatically gets an additional +1 to her presence and +1 to her courage. And as I said, she's worth 25 points in traits. So she also has 4 action dice. All characters start with 2, heroes start with 3, and she gained that additional action die with the 25 points in traits. And her arcane robes give her a -1 to her max move, and being small gives her a -2 to her max move, so her max move is 7. But she doesn't really have to worry about that because she has a mount. As far as weaknesses go, I went with Cold-Blooded, because they're amphibians. Thematically, I went with Cold-Blooded for all of them. And Clumsy. She's not going to be picking up a stick and trying to hit you. So she has a -2 to her melee attacks from that. And when she rolls 1s in combat, they cancel her highest 2 dice or hit an ally within her reach or range with her highest 2 dice. We also got to roll for supplies, and she has 3 supplies on her for the start of the campaign. Now we have King Gira, who is basically her bodyguard, right? So he is cold-blooded. He's also a Luddite. Her job is the magic, not his. He's here to make sure she does not get terribly maimed. He is worth 13 points in traits, and his equipment is 2. So you'll see he only has 2 action dice because he's just a brothers in arms, and he doesn't have enough traits to give him the additional action die. I do have him at medium size, but he has no armor, so he has an additional 2 to his max move, and 2 evade dice from that. He has a 2-handed weapon, which gives him +1 damage. So he has Mock. Any allies within 5 inches that are targeted by a charge, he can force them to make a courage roll with a -1 to that roll, and if they fail, they have to charge him instead. He has Defender, which is any ally within 3 inches of him gains +1 defense die. He's also a field medic, which means his bandages can heal 2 wounds. So I gave him 5 bandages. Now, one thing to remember is you can't just rely on bandages because each character can only be bandaged once per game. So you're definitely going to want to have more heal than that. And since he is kind of a tanky kind of guy, I gave him Battle Ready. So he gains +1 defense die when he's being charged. And he has Resilient, which gives him a defense die. His profession is Herbalist, which gives him the Resist Augment, and I chose Arctic and Poison. So I see him as kind of the guy that does all the things that Karoakei needs. He's her bodyguard when she needs it. He makes her tea. He warms her socks. Whatever is needed. He's kind of her number one guy, right? And I gave him Weapon Master for that +1 to hit with melee attacks. He also has 3 supplies. And I believe that's it for King Gira. Now we have Da Vinci. Again, I made him cold-blooded. He is worth 6 build points, and he's a melee purist. So if he picks up a bow, his ones are going to hit an ally within his range with the full attack. So he's probably just not going to do that, right? It also gives him a -2 to ranged attacks. So he has a single hand weapon and a shield. No armor. So that gives him 2 evade dice. And the single hand weapon with the shield gives him a +1 to attack with melee attacks. He also has 2 action dice. I gave him Lieutenant. So he and Paolo are related. He's the older brother by 2 seconds, and he will never let Paolo forget it. So I gave him Lieutenant, mostly thematically, to boss his younger brother around. But the trait itself is any ally within 5 inches. At the end of Da Vinci's activation, he can give an ally a free action die to use immediately. He also has Charm because of his profession. I made him a diplomat. Well, on paper it's diplomat, but because he's the oldest, I have natural born leader, and I chose diplomat for that. So with that came the Charm. So an enemy that starts their activation within their reach of him has 1 less action die to act against him. He also has Weapon Master, so he has in total +2 to hit with melee attacks. And he should not have defense dice, I think. Oh yes, he gets defense dice from the shield. So he has 2 defense dice from his shield. And I'm not completely sure the full theme of what I'm going to be doing with this team. But how I see it is they were originally a doo-hop band, and then this terrible curse befell Karoakei. So she has started to learn magic, and her acolytes have also been dabbling, mostly to protect their beloved leader. So I gave him Lesser Ensnare, which is 15 inches. It's a 3-inch template. Any character within that template is entangled, and it's a 5+ to break free. And I also have an upkeep spell called Lesser Force Field. All allies within 5 inches gain 1 defense die per success for ranged attacks. So we have Paolo. He also has 6 build points in traits. He's cold-blooded and obnoxious. Obnoxious gives him a -2 to presence, and that also affects his secondary results in out in the town events. He has 8 supplies, the shield and the single hand weapon. He has that +1 to hit, 2 defense dice, and no armor, so he has 2 evade dice. 2 action dice as well, because all characters start with that. Now, I gave him Lesser Heal with Inclination, so that means he can cast that spell twice per turn. And I gave him Leap. I had 1 BP to spend, and I thought, why not give him something thematically appropriate, because he's a frog. Weapon Master, which means he should actually have a +2 to hit. And I gave him Navigator as well, because he was a sailor for a while before he joined the doo-hop band. And so he can look at the stars and you get one less travel event with him. And so, yeah, that is my hero party, for better or worse right now. Oh, I almost forgot my mount. So we have this awesome mushroom mount. I had a lot of fun painting this one, and I really enjoyed this whole line. They were really a lot of fun, and I spent a long time staring at pictures of frogs and doom scrolling Google images. I feel pretty good about these guys. So the mount, a sentient mount, half of their BP and traits goes toward your party BP. And party BP is what is used to calculate what monsters get for the missions. Sentient mounts cost in upkeep, so they cost 1 guilder for every 3 BP they are worth, rounded up to the next one. So he's worth 23 BP. Divide by 3 would be 8, rounding up. I gave him medium armor because thematically his stock is very thick. Armor doesn't necessarily have to be, you know, a breastplate or chainmail or anything. It can be thematically appropriate, like, you know, a dragon would have a very tough, thick, scaly hide. So you might give them heavy armor because that makes sense. So that's what I did there. And that gives him 2 defense dice and a -1 to his max move. But he is large, which gives him a +2 to his max move. So his max move is 11. And I actually forgot to put this in here. It also gives him a +1 to get hit and a -1 to his stealth. He has 2 action dice because his traits value isn't quite up to par to give him the 3rd. And I made him very much a protective. He's not really there to attack. He's there to cart Miss Karoakei around and defend her when necessary. So he has Sentient Mount, which allows him to act independently of Karoakei. He's got Battle Ready, which we know from King Gigra that it's +1 defense die when being charged. You have to take the Mount trait if you want to be a Mount. Defensive gives him +1 damage to his defense rolls. Resilient gives him additional defense die. I also gave him Defender. Allies within 3 inches get +1 defense die. And he has Catcall, which is a lesser version of Mock. 3 inches, courage roll, but not with the penalty. He's really only concerned about Karoakei anyway. He will not be using that for any of the other party members. And now you have it. That is my hero party. And maybe I can convince Julio to make one of these videos as well. And he's going to love me for that. Alright, so until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy our stuff.